Google is good at a lot of things. Want to send an email? Let me introduce you to gmail.com. Maybe you two have already met. Want to look at a picture? I don't know, maybe try googleimages.com. I've heard they have a few of those. Maybe you're me and you want to write this video. Head on over to docs.google.com. I'll see me there. Need to frantically know for the gazillionth time how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? Baby, that's just plain old google.com. Want to see every kind of porn ever made? Google has it. Sundar Pichai will show it to you. You just have to ask. He personally curates it. It's Pichai's porn world, and we're just living in it. The point is, Google has a monopoly on many of the online services we use every day. But there is one lane on the information superhighway that they have not been able to successfully merge into: social media. For whatever reason, Google sucks so hard at creating social media platforms. Google Wave, kind of social media, and definitely a failure. Google Buzz, biblical level failure. Google Plus, it sounds like a streaming service, but in reality was a very confusing sharing platform that no one knew how to use, which also made it a failure. Okay, so Google put out a few stinkers. Who cares? They couldn't be any worse than the 2013 buddy comedy / feature-length Google advertisement, The Internship, starring Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn.
Assholes! Oh, you nautical monster!
But those guys are so funny though, I love them. So why am I making an entire video about the tech titans' defunct social media platforms? Well, if you're around my age, there's a chance that at one point or another, you were a very active user on one of these platforms. Not necessarily because you wanted to be, but because it was all you had. In 2010, I was 11 years old, and so was everyone else who was 11 years. There were a lot of 11-year-olds. I wasn't the only one. While Facebook was the most popular social media platform at the time, it came with the burden of constantly being targeted by the mainstream media over privacy concerns, the potential psychological impact on its users, which is something we've completely given up on. And then that movie Catfish came out, which taught us to assume that every teenager online is actually a 45-year-old man and a pedophile. So naturally, a lot of parents were wary of letting their kids create Facebook accounts. Which is funny because now those same kids grew up and they're the ones wary of their parents having Facebook accounts. But at the time, it was the other way around. Most of the kids at my elementary school didn't have Facebook yet, but what we did have was email, specifically Gmail. Gmail was everything to my 5th grade class. Maybe equivalent to what MSN Messenger or AIM was to our forefathers. Shout out to my millennial elders. We may have our differences, but we do have one thing in common. We're both gonna live to die by climate change. I'll see you at the end, brother. For us, Gmail was our first taste of digital independence. You got to pick your own username and choose from a bunch of different themes for your inbox, and all of them sucked except the terminal one, which was so sick and cool and incredibly hard to look at. But the best part was, parents didn't really care about Gmail because it was just email. Email had been around since the Stone Age. I mean, the Egyptian goddess Isis famously used her Hotmail account to tell all her girlies about her plan to glue her boy toy Osiris back together. Email done been around. So that, combined with the fact that Facebook was taking the brunt of public criticism, Google was able to sort of Trojan horse their way into the lives of America's youth. And don't tell our parents, but we didn't really use Gmail for email. Sure, we engaged in the occasional email chain that told some spooky story and then threatened death to our families if we didn't forward it to 10 other people, and maybe we allegedly used it to execute sophisticated cyber espionage by pretending to be our parents when signing up for Pop Tropica, but the biggest draw of Gmail was GChat, Gmail's instant messaging service. All you needed was a Gmail email account, and you had access to instant communication with all of your friends. Well, I guess email was already instant communication, but this was different because you used it in a tiny box in the corner of the screen. So it was better. It was just so much less formal than email. You could hop on there for a few minutes after school and just see what everyone was up to. Assuming that you had some allotted time on the family computer and that your younger sibling wasn't currently playing Pixie Hollow even though their 30 minutes of computer time was up 10 minutes ago. Mom, what the fuck? She's literally violating the Geneva Convention on levels never before witnessed by humanity. Mom, make her stop. Mom! But once your stupid sibling finally logged off and it was your turn to tickle the keys, GChat gave you the power to have riveting online conversations with your friends. Hi. Hi. So what's up? G2G, bye. B. Wow. We really had a way with words. Everyone used GChat. I remember frantically scheduling what time my friends and I were going to get online after school while running to my bus as the doors were closing. We lived for it. And while in our eyes, GChat was the greatest thing ever stolen from Microsoft, in 2010, Google would steal a different idea and launch Google Buzz. And we lost our minds. Google Buzz was basically Google's first attempt at Twitter or Facebook. It was a public message board built on top of Gmail. If you had a Gmail account, you had a Google Buzz account, whether you wanted one or not. You used it through your inbox. And Buzz was really just GChat, except if every single person you knew was in the same chat. It was pure chaos. But because most of us weren't allowed to get Facebook accounts, Google Buzz filled that void. Was that intentional? Was Google really trying to cater to this very niche group of 11-year-olds? Probably not. But we abused it anyway. If you've never heard of Google Buzz, or maybe the mention of it triggered a repressed memory you didn't know you had, like you're some sort of deep cover Gen Z sleeper soldier, you might be wondering, what happened to it? Well, for Google, Buzz was poised to be the next social media giant. It was simple and they had it integrated into their existing email service that hundreds of millions of people already used. There was even a mobile version, which in 2010 meant something. I mean, it's Google. Have you seen how many nap pods and slides and espresso machines they have? They can't fail.
Google is taking aim at Facebook. The search giant
Is Google Buzz a threat to Twitter, or
we're calling it Twitter killer and Facebook killer?
Yeah, so turns out Google can fail and does fail a lot and spectacularly. Google Buzz was rolled out in February of 2010 and completely discontinued in November of the following year. It did not quite have the impact that they hoped it would. But why? Well, for one, it didn't bring much to the table that was new. It was just a ripoff of its much more successful competitors, so most people didn't really have an incentive to use it. I even found an email chain that one of my classmates sent in April of 2010 with the subject line, "No more Buzz," where she stated the following in a horrible purple font. I think that we should have no more Buzz. Who's with me? Because it always shows up in your inbox and is annoying. And because, well, I like email better. Like, email makes more sense. So who's with me? Yeah. Honestly, she was a trailblazer, ahead of her time. We didn't listen. Google Buzz cluttered people's inboxes and didn't have any unique features to warrant taking up the space. But what Buzz did bring to the table was a super fun privacy policy that essentially boiled down to Rule 1, there are no rules. Rule 2, see Rule 1. Yeah, Google kinda ended up in a class action lawsuit over Buzz, where they were accused of violating a number of privacy acts and settled for $8.5 million in September of 2010. What exactly were the privacy issues? Well, the way that Google Buzz worked was that it would automatically follow the people who you frequently emailed and chatted with through Gmail. So all of a sudden, everyone's most contacted addresses were just made public. And once someone was following you, which if you pretty much had ever emailed them, they would be automatically, they could see a lot of your information under the default privacy settings. I think the most highly circulated story about this was by a blogger named Harriet, who came out with a blog detailing how when Google Buzz launched, suddenly her abusive ex-boyfriend was following her and had access to her new boyfriend's information along with her address and workplace through her Google Reader account, which was automatically linked to her Buzz account. It doesn't sound like this ever resulted in any altercations, but still not really a fun feature for a social media platform to have. The privacy concerns, followed by the lawsuit and also the fact that few people older than 11 actually used or liked it, led to Buzz's inevitable demise in 2011, less than 2 years after its launch. And while Buzz had a short and controversial life, me and pretty much everyone at my school had a lot of fun with it. But how do I know that? Do I just have an ironclad memory and can perfectly recall 5th grade? No, I have the memory of a cockroach with a concussion. But lucky for me, while Google shut down this service over a decade ago, they quietly archived all of their users' Gchats and Google Buzz threads and Google Plus threads, which we'll get to, in their emails. I'm telling you, if you use GChat or Google Buzz, log in to whatever Gmail account you were using in 2010 and search Buzz or Chat. You will probably find a plethora of horrifically embarrassing threads and chats that you were involved in. We are the first generation to have a paper trail leading back to who we were in 5th grade. Terrifying. And I know this because I found all of mine. Every chat, every Google Buzz thread. I found them all. And they are tough to read. But, you know, good thing no one else will ever see them. Unless I read them out loud in a video that will exist on the internet forever. But no, I mean, that's a stupid idea. Why would I do that? That's really tasty, actually. It's very simple. It's just a nice floral gin, some honey syrup, and some lemon juice. But it's good, and I'm sure that someone has created something very similar, if not exactly the same before, but I didn't look at a recipe, so therefore it's a new drink and it's mine. Also, I don't know how many other people who have made a similar drink have used the raw honeycomb as a garnish. I think that's a nice touch. So it's a new drink and it belongs to me. And I am calling it the Buzz because of the video and also bees. It's in the biz what we like to call subtext. So logging into this old email of mine, I am immediately seeing that this inbox is absolutely fucked. I mean, I have never seen a more egregious number of spam emails. Like I have one that's from PS5. The subject is important for Jake, which isn't my name. And it just says, your name came up for a PlayStation 5 customer gift. And it has a clickable link, which I will be clicking on because sorry, Jake, you snooze, you lose. I'm getting a PS5, fuck you. I have another one right under that from Apple, except for there's spaces in between every letter of the word Apple and an underscore at the end. So that's how you know it's legit. And it says I won an iPhone 13. So already I've been in this inbox for less than 60 seconds and I've got a new PS5 and a new iPhone 13. So ladies and gentlemen, that's what's called the art of the deal. I'm also seeing that in my Google Hangouts, it looks like I've been put in a plethora of just spam group messages with random people. Here's one from Katie Carter that says, want to get drunk together in private chat? And she was kind enough to attach a link that we can click on to hang out with her. And, oh no, someone replied to this. There's 44 people in this group it's obviously just like a spam bot sending shit. And someone replied and said, sure, when? I'm down. My girlfriend just broke up with me about a week ago, so anything to get that off my mind. No. No. That dude is down bad. I apologize. When you're responding to the porn bot in Google Hangouts, that's tough times. Shit. But getting back on track here, let's take a look at some of these Buzz threads I found. Okay, here's a good one to start on. This is, I posted this in January of 2011, and it might be the most 2011 thing anyone's ever said. I posted, anybody else have black and yellow stuck in their head? And one person replied that they do, so I wasn't alone. You know what it is, everything I do. Damn it, now I have it, fuck you past me, now I do have it stuck in my head. Okay, here's like the genesis of Google Buzz. It's not a Buzz post, it's a GChat between one of my friends and I, but this was Thursday, February 11th, 2010, so right when Buzz launched. Hi, hello, apparently you're following me. Get on Buzz and type something in. Fine, later. Go on Club Penguin, go to the server fog. Okay, so I was trying to sell him on Buzz and he just wanted to play Club Penguin. Which honestly, I don't blame him. That sounds like way more fun than what I was doing on Buzz. Okay, this is the first longer thread I'm finding. This thread stems from my Google Chat status that I made February 7th of 2011, and it just says joy. It's just J-O-W. I don't know what that means. But it spawned a Google Buzz thread that lasted until May. So we were committed, I guess. Let's see, is there anything interesting here? Oh, here, okay, here's something. Oh, here's something about me. Here's some juicy drama about me. Okay, this girl says, haha, nice. Wait, is it true that Casper has a GF? That's what he said. Who would be with him? Okay, well, first of all, it's Jasper with a J. Oh, this is actually Valentine's Day. This is February 14th. So this is, wow, okay, salt in the wound, Jesus. One of my friends replied and said, that was last year before she hacked his comp, I think. His life is confusing. Okay, I don't know what that means. And then she replies after that and says, well, it's Casper. His whole face and just him is weird and confusing. Haha, sorry, Casper. Fuck you. Fuck you. My face isn't that weird and confusing. Okay, that was February 14th. On March 6th, she comes back into the thread, this girl, and says, hey, I'm back, peeps. And I replied to her and say, nobody cares and nobody ever did, so get over it. Honestly, I mean, come on, I earned that. Okay, here's another buzz thread. Let's see it. Maybe I fare better in this one. Maybe people are nicer to me. This one's from February 11th, 2010. Okay, so this is Valentine's Day again, of the year before. Weird. Wait, what day is it today? Today is February 13th when I'm filming this. That was not intentional at all. Is that a sign of something? I'm not gonna read into it. Anyway, let's see how my Valentine's Day was in 2010. Okay, February 11th, Jasper Kirkpatrick posted a buzz. Oh yeah, I had a different last name when I was younger. Basically, in middle school, I got married and took her last name because I'm progressive and also a child groom. I started a buzz thread. I posted, dudes, Valentine's Day in our class stunk. Well, too bad for you, cause mine rocked. Haha, good for you, Natalie. We couldn't even have candy. That would suck even more. We could have candy, but Mr. D had to stop some people. You remember when Valentine's Day in elementary school when kids were fucking ODing on pixie sticks left and right? Shit got dark. That's sad, no candy. Oh, and Jasper, you're right, Valentine's Day did suck. But that's because you were there. What? Are you kidding me? 2 Valentine's Days in a row? I'm just getting dunked on Google Buzz? God damn it. Okay, this is sort of unrelated, but the girl who said that Valentine's Day sucked because I was there, I very shortly after that emailed one of my friends who I think at the time had a crush on her or like was dating her. We were in 5th grade, so that doesn't mean anything. But I said, hey Ben, how's Sarah? Well, she's being crap to me, so talk some sense into that chick. I was so much more blunt when I was 11 years old. I lost my edge. I need to get some of this back. But when I was 11, I got shit done. Okay, wait, hold on. Sorry, I know this is like devolving from being about Google Buzz at all, but I'm just trying to figure out like the timeline here. So I sent out a buzz that said Valentine's Day in our class stunk. And I'm slowly, just by reading through some of these old emails and chats, figuring out why that was. I found a GChat thread between me and the girl that I had a big crush on at the time. And let's just read through it. Hello? Hello? Hi. Are you sick or something? Yes. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. ... My Valentine was weird, wasn't it? Yeah. ... I gotta go. Okay, bye, I like you. Okay then. ... Bye. Oh, Jasper, you poor bastard. Clearly what happened here is that I wrote my crush a Valentine that was not received well. God damn it. I thought it would be fun to look back at this stuff, and now I'm just sad. Okay, well let's find some other Google Buzz threads. These are just pure nonsense. Like, I guess that's to be expected with 5th graders. Someone just said to me in this thread, suck your binky and be happy. So apparently I'm still getting bullied. All right, well here, now that I'm at the end of this thread, I'm seeing that I am also being shitty. I don't know the context, but I said, you wouldn't understand, Nat, you don't know that Beth's a ... stri ... p... must say no more. Sent from my iPod. That's just mean. Wait, what is she? Nothing, smiley face. Did he say a striper? Cause that's gross. Okay. So, yeah, I guess for some reason I called a girl a stripper, or a striper, as one of my classmates so eloquently put it. So, yeah, okay, I was being mean too. To be fair, this is May of 2011, so I'm 12. No, I'm 11. This is right before my birthday. So I'm 11 years old. I didn't know what a stripper was, okay? There was no malice here. Forgive me, please, I apologize. Here's a pretty good example of how all of these threads typically end. It's like a solid couple weeks of conversation, and then it just devolves into about 3 different people spamming just giant blocks of text. And then that's it. Shocking that this platform didn't survive. We were really doing God's work on there. All right, I think that's the last thread where anything significant happens. Most of these are just total fucking nonsense. Yeah, it seems like on Buzz, at least when I was on Buzz, there were 3 things happening. You were either getting bullied, actively bullying someone else, or getting rejected by the person that you thought you were in love with. So it was a good time. I'm glad that Google saved all of that for me to relive. Yeah, maybe Google Buzz wasn't great after all, for me personally. It's pretty good. So this is essentially just a Tom Collins, but instead of simple syrup, I used honey syrup. So I'll call it the Berry B. Collins. That's the name of the bee from the Bee Movie, right? I think so. You like jazz? Google Buzz may have shut down in 2011 for privacy concerns and a general lack of interest, but as all tech companies know, if something fails, right off the pane, just give it a new name and launch it again. In June of 2011, less than a year after the burial of Buzz, a phoenix would rise from its ashes and give the world Google+. Well, maybe less phoenix from ash and more geriatric seagull from landfill. Google+ was a very similar platform to Buzz, but instead of being built on top of Gmail, which had proved to be more trouble than it was worth, they made it its own standalone product. And because that's probably what they should have done with Buzz in the first place, I guess technically this was a step in the right direction. At first, the user base for Google+ actually grew pretty well. They had something like 90 million signups in the first year, which granted was a drop in the bucket compared to Facebook's 750 million, but it still wasn't a total flop. I personally remember making a Google+ account, but I don't really remember using it as much as I used Buzz, although I did find this old email from one of my friends that's dated 2011 and just says, "You have weird Google+ posts." So apparently I was up to something on there. The best thread I found was one that I wasn't really a part of, but in this thread, one of my friends is talking to a girl and she says, "Are you the Ben that Sarah's been talking to?" And he replies, "Yeah, I think so." And she goes, "Okay, cool. Are you as depressing as she says you are?" Man. Oh, middle schoolers are so mean. Like, we're in 6th grade and this girl's just like, "You seem generally unhappy," and that's fucking weird. Yeah, social media was definitely a good idea. Clearly, my circle of friends and classmates did move from Google Buzz to Google+ to further cyberbully each other for a bit, but if I'm not misremembering, it was pretty short-lived because not long after that, Snapchat and Instagram conquered the arena and we moved on to serve our new masters. But what was Google+? Well, while Buzz didn't try to do anything different or unique, Google actually did give Plus a trick or two to hide up its sleeve. I guess not or two, it had a trick, singular. The one interesting thing about Google Plus was what were called circles. Basically, you could create different groups of contacts like friends, family, and work so that when you made a post, you could choose which circles would be able to see your post, which isn't a bad idea. I know that as of recent years, Instagram gives you the ability to do something similar with its close friends feature, so maybe they were actually ahead of their time on that one. However, while Google Plus did have this one good idea and a half-decent launch, the platform would remain in a fairly constant downward spiral for the rest of its life. Google got stuck in a sort of feedback loop where the number of Google Plus users would dwindle, and as a countermeasure, Google would just shove it even further down people's throats, which, surprise, upset potential users because it turns out people don't really like having things shoved down their throats. This happened when they decided to make having a Google Plus account mandatory for all Gmail users, and it happened again when they decided to link YouTube and Google Plus by not letting users leave comments on YouTube videos unless they had a Google Plus account. It really was just one terrible decision after another. And while the platform started digging its own grave pretty much the moment it came into existence, what finally put the nail in the coffin was, you guessed it, a substantial breach of user privacy. Like father, like son. Nice to see. In 2018, Google announced a software bug within Google Plus that had been giving third-party developers access to users' personal information since 2015. So for like 3 years, the platform's data security was about as tight as an already leaky sieve caught in the crossfire of a shotgun. And the cherry on top was that Google knew about it and just didn't tell anyone. So to no one's surprise, they ended up in yet another class action lawsuit over a failed sharing platform and settled for another $8 million. Which actually, let's just see what Google's market cap was in 2018. $723 billion. So yeah, I'm sure they learned their lesson. But you wanna know what the best part of all of this was? Users whose data had been potentially leaked would be entitled to financial compensation, up to, and definitely limited to, $12. 12 US dollars. Was this a joke? Like, I'm not a legal expert by any means, but what is the point of suing a nearly $1 trillion corporation that is actively breaking the law, only to secure a maximum of $12 for the victims of their wrongdoing? Technically, I guess Google claimed that the weak point in their security was never taken advantage of by nefarious hackers, but I mean, come on, that's like breaking into someone's house and then not stealing anything. Maybe on paper it's a net zero, but that doesn't make it any less of a crime. Google Plus had an 8-year run before meeting its maker in April of 2019. Since then, the company has not made much of a public push for their next Facebook killer, although they might not need to since Meta is already doing a pretty good job at democratizing the murder of its former self. I read some articles about the future of Google's social presence, and it sounds like they're mainly focusing on adding social features to their existing products. I guess they've already added messaging and sharing to Google Photos, which, I don't know, seems like too little too late, but who knows? Maybe in a couple years, we'll all be hopelessly addicted to Google Photos. Weirder things have happened. Google Buzz and Google Plus might have been massive failures that tarnished the company's reputation, but I can't help but look back on them fondly. Because of nostalgia, obviously. I'm aware that this entire video is deeply rooted in nostalgia for a very specific group of people. But so what, okay? It's fun to throw on the rose-colored glasses every once in a while. Everything now sucks, and everything back then still sucked, but it's been long enough that we can pretend like it didn't. And that's what being human is all about. That and emailing your crush at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday to tell her, sorry about my card at the Valentine's part. And yeah, it looks like she never replied to that, which, shocking. Who would have thought? It's a real winner of an email. Jesus Christ, Jasper.